What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks again for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to go about showing you exactly how I made $9,500 trading today. We're going to show you exactly why we bought things when we bought things, why we sold them when we sold things, and why we lost money on the day. And if you really follow these videos and hit the thumbs up button, you will most likely start making money trading. So with that being said, let's get into the recap of this video. So you will see here on the day I traded Tesla for 1,400, JG for 800. I lost to 3,200 on UAVS. I won 4,500, 4,600 on HUSN. I lost 1,286 on AMTX, which I was actually green 900 before I tried to do something stupid. And then I made $1.62 on GNPX, which actually should have been a bigger win than that. And I lost $326 on ELSE, which was really just a pointless trade. And then I won $2,800 on MRNA and won $4,700 on YGMZ, and we're going to go over those all right now. So we'll just go from top to bottom, starting with good old Tesla. Good old Tesla Magoo. All right, so we're going to show everything on the intraday chart on the left chart, and then all the daily chart levels that you need to pay attention to on the right chart. So we're going to get that all organized. All right, so to put it simply, what we did on Tesla was a 500 share bounce here down at 615. We had a price target of 615 on the downside today. It hit, we went long. So we went long 500 shares on Tesla down here at the bottom. So what was the reason for going long on Tesla? Well, it sold off all day long. Whenever something sells off this big, it can usually have a pretty aggressive bounce. So we knew the volatility aspect was in our favor given how much it had sold off on the day. And if you look at the chart on the right, you can see that Tesla had been coming down right into a long-term half deviation trending support, and that's how we got the 615 price target. We put the line there. You will see that it comes out, well, it would if this would work right. There we go. So there's a 615 price target. So we came down right into 615. We went long 500 shares, netted a gain of $1,400 bucks. But why did we go long there? Because the stock sold up all day long into the 615 trending support. We went long and basically just sold the bounce up. All right. Next one on the list is JG. So JG was a long on the day, pre-market. Really didn't get much of the move, to be honest. Basically, I went long in the dip here with 3,000 shares and sold the push up here into resistance, which basically netted a gain of 800, 900 bucks. Really, if you look at this one, I mean, it was overbought, but I thought we were going to break over the previous price action high resistance of 544, so that's why I went long in this dip at 519 to push us back up to the 544 high, see if we would run through on a breakout. Well, we broke out briefly, closed out the trade, sold back down, and then later in the morning, we ended up breaking out that trade, but you can see JG ended up selling off significantly on the day, and this thing still has a price target of $3.79. So really, it was just a scalp trade long after a dip to retest resistance. Really not too much to cover there. All right, next one that I lost on the day was UAVS. So this was a short trade that I was in pre-market. You can see the stock ends up going down. So theoretically, I was right about the actual direction the stock would go for the day, but my timing was just way off. So anyways, I entered short a couple thousand shares here pre-market, and then I got squeezed out this move. So essentially, I was short 3,000 shares, squeezed up, and then took my trade off literally right at the high. Then it crashed back down, then it bounced up, and then went back down. So trading can be a pain, but at the time, essentially, I got squeezed up on 3,000 shares, took a big loss. But why was there such a big squeeze pre-market, right? That's what you want to learn. Why did the stock rip the way it ripped? And I will show you here in just a second. Let me delete all these old levels. One Thinkorswim's platform works. They're only a multi-billion-dollar company, but still suck. Alrighty, so if you look at the chart on the right, we're going to go to this blue line. We're going to put a line over the blue line so that way you see it on the left screen. So ready? Bam. Okay, look where that blue line shows up, or red line. See that line's right there? So that is, at the time, it was actually $6.30, but you can see this red line was the long-term top resistance point. So we all looked to go short around this blue line, and essentially all of us that were already short just got squeezed out over the blue line, pushes all the way up to $7.30. So the blue line was resistance. We were shorting into the blue line. The market squeezed us up over the blue line and then dropped us back out during the day. So essentially I was short 3,000 shares here on the pre-market high, got squeezed out over the long-term deviation trending resistance of 630, pushes all the way to 730, lost $3,000, took the trade off. That sucked. Okay, on to the next one is HUSN. So HUSN was a short pre-market, which was almost my biggest win on the day. All right, so HUSN, I think was a 12,000 share short. So market pushes up to here. I entered short 9,000 shares, and the market squeezed back up to here, and I entered short another couple thousand, putting in a total position of 12,000. And as we dropped out from here down into this low, I pretty much covered the 12,000 shares short for a win of $4,500. And as you can see, the stock ended up tanking from that point forward. So if I would have held all the way, it really would have been a phenomenal win on the day. But hey, still made great money. So what was the reason for shorting where we shorted? I will show you. Look at the right chart. You will see the right chart. There is this blue trend line at the price of $4.91. So let's go ahead and delete this drawing because it seems like nothing is working properly on Thinkorswim currently. So let's look at the price of $4.90. All right, let's go put this here. So we put that line there. See where it exists when it's not populating on the left screen, which is just dumb. So anyways, we'll just take the price of $4.90. So, it's just a little higher, excuse me. So there's $4.90 up there. All right, and then we're gonna look at the 4-hour chart here. So we go look at the 4-hour time frame. Where's the blue line? The blue line's all the way right here, okay? So this morning, as soon as the stock started to get above, freaking Thinkorswim. As soon as the stock started to get above the price of $4.30 pre-market, we knew it was overbought and it had the potential to go all the way up to a high of $4.90 before, again, hitting the daily chart long-term trending resistance of $4.91. So essentially, anything over the price of $4.30 pre-market was well overbought, and we were just shorting into it as we approached some of the longer-term resistances. So we take the 4-hour chart, daily chart, map out the long-term resistance. As the stock approaches those long-term resistance, we sell into that move, and then of course we break down, and that's how I netted $4,000 on the day. All right, next one is AMTX, which I was actually green on before, again, trying to do a long. So AMTX, essentially I was short here, short a couple thousand shares here, maybe it was like 2,000, covered the bottom of this, left 500 shares on short, rode it all the way up, came all the way back down, covered my 500 shares short here, and then I tried to do a couple long trades here with like 10 to 14,000 shares. It just never worked, and just kept taking small losses to eventually give me a loss of $1,286 on the day. So the reasons that we went short on AMTX, again, is if you look at the 4-hour chart here on the right screen, you will see, not entirely, but you know, this stock was kind of coming into resistance points. So intraday, it was well overbought on the intraday channel. The long-term chart still had room to run. So this is going to be hard to explain because it doesn't fit perfect to a T. But anyways, just put it that this morning pre-market, when it was at the prices of $4.19 to even $4.55, it was overbought pre-market, which means it's more susceptible to going down. But the reasons I actually bought the stock here trying to do a reversal long was because I was actually trying a new approach to see if it would kind of work. And it did briefly, but as you can see, I ended up losing. So the reasons that I wanted to go long here on AMTX was because at the time, and you can still see it's kind of doing that, right? We kind of held this trend. You can see we kind of pushed, we opened the day high, we sold all the way down to trending support of like 303. Let me see where it's at. Yeah, 303, which is like, at the time it was actually here. So let me rephrase that. At the time, that white trend line I'm showing you is actually right here. So essentially, we were trying to base out and hold a long-term regression trend and then force a long move up. It didn't work. Normally, I would actually be short in this situation, but I was kind of optimistic that this approach might actually work, so I tried to go long. But normally, I would have been short AMTX all the way through and through, but today I was like, let's try this approach. Guess what? Didn't work. Ended up losing $1,400. So I guess I'm going to stick to my original go-to plans and just stay short on that for the time being. So ended up taking a loss trying to long this first dip on the day with AMTX. Okay. GNPX is pointless to talk about. We're not even going to talk about. ELSE is pointless to talk about. We're not going to talk about. Pretty much I shorted it. Shouldn't have been shorting, and I took the trade off immediately for a market order and lost $326. We'll go over MRNA here. So MRNA was essentially the same sort of approach and bounce trade that we did on Tesla. So what we're going to do is look at the 4-hour chart. Or actually, no, I think it was a daily chart, so excuse me. All right, so if you look at MRNA, MRNA sells off all day long with a lot of volatility, comes all the way down to a price of 125.54. And if you look at the price here, you will see that this trend line came into play at 126.20. So we put that there, and you can see that trend starts right there. So essentially, MRNA sells off in the day all the way down to low-risk, long-term trending support. So instead of selling it, we go long. I bought 2,500 shares on this dip. We trade this dip up. and ultimately made $2,886. But the main takeaway from this is the fact that MRNA is selling down with a lot of volatility on the day, and it comes into long-term trending support. Instead of trying to sell it, we go opposite and buy the bounce, and we make $2,800. And then the last trade is YGMZ, where I made $4,700. So YGMZ was a short trade. I was shorting here, shorting here, shorting here, and then eventually it broke down. I covered this low and then covered that low for a total win of $4,700. So the reason we shorted YGMZ is because it's a classic stock to short when it puts in this setup. So what's the setup? YGMZ stock explodes the other day, goes all the way to $18, right? And then it crashes 1-2 days in a row. So everybody that was shorting it on the way down is making a bunch of money. Today was a day where the short sellers weren't selling it, so they got squeezed up in the opposite direction. There's no news on it today. So essentially the stock goes to like $19 the other day, crashes from 19 all the way down to $9. So it crashes $10. There's no news on it today. It squeezes all the way up to $14, which if you look at the right screen, you're going to see means it squeezed all the way back up to its long-term trending resistance. So it's squeezing up on the day into long-term trending resistance with no news. That stock is probably going to come back down. So we weren't scared to be short this. Even I was down like $5,000 on the position when it was all the way up here because I timed it wrong. But I mean, the stock's running on no news. No reason for it to keep going up. Just kept adding short all the way up, and eventually I was right. We can stopped out, boom, and we netted a $4,700 win. I know there was a lot of stocks to go over. I know it could be a little confusing with all these levels on the chart. I do apologize for that, but as I said before, literally if you follow everything that I've been showing you in this video to a T, you'd be probably crushing it right now. So with that being said, I do appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button, share the video, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks, guys.